a consumer of On Cinema.
Hey, this is the Other On Cinema podcast, a podcast in which myself, Ramsey, an On Cinema superfan, talks about On Cinema with Caleb, who has never seen the show before. Today, we're going to be talking about the Second Annual Oscar Special, but before we get into that, Caleb, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Recruited quite a few people to communism at Pride this weekend.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Turns out gay people might be somewhat, subject to negative things in this world and want a change. Yeah. Pretty wild.
Yeah, who would have thought? It's funny you brought that up because I had a digression about Dave & Buster's. So it was my birthday this last weekend, and me and Caleb and some of our friends kind of, I say ironically, went to Dave & Buster's, but I just wanted to go. I'd never been before. It actually was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. But they have this thing there called the human crane, which I did not know existed.
The human claw.
The human claw. Sorry. Yes, the human claw. So basically, it's this toy claw machine, but they put an adult person into this like hoist, and then they put you into a ball full of inflatable toys, and you grab them out. And so I did that, and it was a lot of fun. And after I got out of it, I just thought to myself, for the first time in my life, God bless America. Only capitalism could create the human claw. I really think that if you went back in time and showed Karl Marx the human claw, he would never have written the Communist Manifesto.
Yeah, he would have to seriously reconsider his path in life, I think, at that point.
Yeah, he would have never written that. Joseph Stalin would have never bombed all those banks for Lenin. You want to know my favorite fun fact about Joseph Stalin?
Sure, yeah.
He was a big prankster. Later in his life, when he was kind of going crazy and was just like blackout drunk all the time, he would do this prank where he would, when he was out with his officers, he would slip tomatoes into their coat pockets and then push them up against walls. And then the tomatoes would burst in their coat pockets, and they would just have wet tomato juice in their coat pockets. That's a true story. I'm not making that up.
I believe it. Yeah. I mean, robbing a bank to fund a revolution is a pretty epic prank as well. So I believe it.
Yeah, who thought such a scamp would starve all those Ukrainians? Anyway, this is the Other On Cinema podcast in which we talk about fun facts about Joseph Stalin. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to go over the Second Annual Oscar Special. And I'm just going to say up top, this is probably my least favorite thing in the On Cinema catalog. And I think this is probably the worst Oscar special upon rewatch.
It has really good production value, though.
Yeah, and I don't mean to be too harsh on it because it really sets up a lot of stuff that's going to be very important to pretty much every other Oscar special going forward. But just kind of knowing how much better all the other ones are, watching this one, it just doesn't really work for me. Like, what did you think of it compared to the last one?
The last one felt emotionally devastating, whereas this one felt just more frustrating in general. And by the end, it seemed like everyone, including me, was just kind of tired, and just kind of out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. We can go over more of that at the end. But before we do that, I felt like we should probably talk about things that worked. So we begin and we see the first appearance of Mark Proch. And this is their big new production, and it immediately opens with Tim just screaming at Mark.
Yeah.
Which is really going to set the tone for the relationship going forward.
Oh, I bet. Mark and Greg are both kind of docile, quiet people overall, and the perfect opportunities for exploitation and resentment from Tim.
So just at the beginning of this, everything already seems so tense. Like Tim and Greg look so awkward. The sense I got was that things have just not been going correct today for anybody.
Yeah. I mean, the pressure is on. They've got a big live event to do, and there's a lot of money on the line, $300 of money.
Yeah. And Greg is dressed like Bilbo Baggins because it's Hobbit-ween. And Tim is obviously very much bothered by
Well, yeah.
Greg's
I mean, especially because Tim really outdid himself. He dressed himself like a mob leader from Saints Row. So he was looking his best. So I understand why he was frustrated with Greg, wearing cut-off dress shorts.
Well, he was wearing, Hobbit pants.
Yeah, Hobbit pants.
With those shoes. Did you notice his shoes?
Yeah, I noticed
his feet. I shouldn't say shoes. His fake Hobbit feet.
I feel like they need a dedicated props team to be able to even make those things. Whatever the hell. I don't even know how they made that. It's so shitty that I
assumed
can't
it was
even
like
imagine.
a bad Spirit Halloween costume or something.
Oh yeah, like some Bigfoot shoes or something.
We get the first rendition of Oscar Fever. What'd you think of Oscar Fever?
I thought the instrumentation was sublime.
The funniest thing to me about it is just the really awful, kind of discordant MIDI guitar solo towards the end.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite part.
Also, I don't know if you noticed this, but they kept cutting to Mark, who couldn't stop laughing at Tim singing Oscar.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
I did notice there were definitely a lot of little giggles through the whole.
No,
live show.
every time. So Tim's gonna come back and sing Oscar Fever again, and Mark can't help but start laughing.
I think, when the instrumentation started and it's so terrible and upbeat, I'm like, there's actually no way to sing over this in a way that improves it in any way. At least not unironically.
So we get Greg's first segment, which is going to the Dolby Theater.
Formerly the Kodak Theater.
Formerly the Kodak Theater. I just love that moment when he's walking up the stairs and he just says Oscars to the camera with a eaten grin.
That's my
really
favorite
good.
part of the segment for sure. He's wearing a t-shirt, the iconic Hobbit head t-shirt, one of a kind. However, we get to see it in action more and realize that he created the t-shirt, like the design, while the t-shirt was probably flat on a surface because without... Oh my gosh.
Okay, just FYI, for any listeners, if you've ever heard screeching in the background, it's because I have a very strange Boston Terrier who makes very strange noises when we're not paying attention to him.
Speaking of one of a kind, this dog here is truly one of a kind. He'll bite your hands if you don't pet him. And the irony is that if you go to pet him, you literally cannot be petting him until you're petting him. And so he will snap at you as you're going to pet him, which is what he wants. So you have to be very fast. Okay, but yeah, because clearly he didn't put the shirt on and make sure the design worked while with the shirt on, taping the letters on or anything like that. Because if you just place a design that spans the entire width of a shirt, you end up with what Greg is dealing with, which is the letters on either side are squeezing into his armpits. Normally, if he's just walking around or something, it doesn't look like it says Hobbit head. It says Lobbit heel.
I did notice that.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you have a note on this, but when Greg said, and now here's a look inside the Dolby Theater, the camera pans.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a poster of the Dolby Theater on the wall.
I knew they weren't going to do this, but some part of me, the intuitive, having seen, actual television show productions was oh, they're going to do a match cut to the actual theater from this photo. They did not.
Nope.
That was not going to happen. But some part of me.
That would be way too professional for
exactly
Mr. Greg Turkington.
They just zoomed in closer to it, making it more out of focus.
So then we go to Larry Terman, supposed to be on the red carpet, and they can't get the feet of him. And I just really love the moment where Greg is really smug. He's looking really smug, and he says, "Same old Larry," Because he hates Larry Terman.
Oh,
obviously.
really?
Well, yeah, because he was the guest host who, who like made him look really stupid when he was like filling in for Tim.
Well, I didn't know if Greg was just so hard-headed that snark did not even penetrate, but I guess it did.
No, it was totally intentional. Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
What do you make of the whole thing of Tim really wanting nuclear war to happen?
Yeah, is that Tim really wanting nuclear war? Is that what's going on? I mean, you were telling me that Tim has he wants to die.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just so strange. I was not really super plugged into the particular conflict they're talking about because, you know, we're still amidst the Ukraine and Russian war now, but that started, you know, way back in like 2013. But he just seems very insistent that it's going to happen.
Maybe this leads into what you've told me already, but yeah, it seems Tim is just kind of a miserable person in general. And if he were to die, he'd be less stressed out, I guess.
Yeah, because, I mean, he basically going forward is operating under the assumption that he's going to die in the next 48 hours.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. he says that a couple of times.
Oh, in this Oscar special, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In this Oscar special specifically. Because he talks about how he's only going to have a couple of glasses of champagne and then immediately is like, you know, fuck it. You know, we're all going to die. Might as well get drunk.
Yeah, where's he? I mean, I wonder. Definitely Alex Jones, right?
I have to imagine. I'm kind of an Alex Jones nerd, but I didn't really get into his stuff. When I say Alex Jones nerd, I find him to be a fascinating person because he's awful and obviously a grifter, but also I think buys into his own bullshit a little bit. Which is confusing, but I was definitely not plugged into him way back in like 2014 or whenever this was going on. But yeah, Tim wants nuclear war to happen. He has a great line. He goes, if Tom Clancy was here, he'd have a lot to say about how Obamacare is handling the situation.
Yeah, Obamacare.
Not Barack Obama,
no,
but Obamacare.
Obamacare. He's got Obama derangement syndrome.
He's got Obama derangement.
Or Obamacare derangement syndrome specifically.
So Ellen DeGeneres is the host during this Oscars, and they keep bringing up that she's never been in any movies. And then they keep flashing like pictures of like movies she's been in, which is funny because one of the movies she was in that they flashed pictures of, the other On Cinema podcast, On the Funny, one of the hosts actually was a co-writer on that movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
small world.
Small world.
I just wanted to mention that, yes, there were at least two moments of Tim and his prescience, which is obviously him predicting the war between Russia and Ukraine, and then also him not really appreciating Ellen DeGeneres, because as we all know, Ellen DeGeneres is not very well liked anymore.
She was at the time, though.
She was at the time.
She was very well liked at the time.
No, I'm saying that he was like not a big fan, at least of her hosting the Oscars.
But I think that was for the wrong reasons. Not because it turned out she was a huge asshole.
Well,
but probably because she was a woman and a lesbian.
Yeah. Broken clocks are right twice a day, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry, I don't want to defend hating women and gays. I don't know if we went past it, but Tim trying to navigate the giant news station style touchscreen.
I didn't even write notes about that. Yeah, that whole thing is funny.
The fact that Leonardo DiCaprio's photos are all of him as a child, basically, and when he tries to exit out, it incinerates the photos. That was pretty great. Them calling the desolation of Schmaug Hobbit 2. While proclaiming them being huge fans. Anytime that they talk about The Hobbit 2 in a positive light, the people behind the slides are just playing the Looney Tunes barrel scene from it. Yeah, what the hell? I mean, this is not related to the show directly, but what the hell was going on with that barrel scene? Because you watched the movie, right?
No, I've only ever seen the first Hobbit movie, and I thought it was terrible, and I didn't watch any of the other ones.
Similarly to how you can appreciate the spectacle of Alex Jones, I can appreciate the spectacle of Hobbit. And so that's why me and my friends went to see them in the theaters when they came out, because it's just like, what the hell are they doing here? But yeah, it was pretty wild to see that scene in the theaters. Everyone was just like nervously laughing because it was so just straight up absolutely bizarre. It was like, what the fuck is the decision making that leads to this?
Well, it seemed goofy because they keep replaying that scene, but it was also like so low res, I couldn't really tell what was going on.
Yeah, it was very low res. It was like 360p and boxed. There were black boxes, you know, around it too. So just skipping forward a little bit, we have a commercial break. Tim comes back and he's starting to look a little bit drunk and a little bit crazed. And they're talking about the Chinese food place that's sponsoring the event and how they, only contributed $300. And they keep showing the pictures of the Chinese food, and it looks so bad. It doesn't look like Chinese food. It looks like I don't even know. I don't even know what cuisine you would call it. It looks like something. Oh man, I'm gonna be so rude here, but it looks like some sort of like Midwest like trailer trash
brown
concoction.
mound.
Yeah, it was like some sort of mound of grain covered in gravy with like a mushroom and a piece of broccoli next to it, and then like something that vaguely looked like spaghetti. It was harrowing to see.
Yeah.
And then the images of the supposed restaurant where it looks like an abandoned strip mall with like a hole in the window. Yeah. Looked real appetizing.
We get into Tim's Oscar fantasy, but before that, they're commenting on, I guess Pharrell did a performance at this Oscar, and they keep calling him Farrell, which I thought was very funny. After that, we get into Tim's Oscar fantasy. So I'm just curious what you think about this, because it wasn't like funny. It just made me feel weird.
It reminded me of like, because in the fantasy, he's just like up on stage yelling at everyone, basically. And for like 5 minutes, it felt like an eternity.
And he starts criticizing movie critics, which is ostensibly his job at this point.
Well, yeah. But he's criticizing because they're not appreciating the right movies, and
Then at one point he says, you don't have to listen to Obamacare.
It reminded me of like Adolf Hitler yelling at people for, 5 minutes straight or whatever. Like it was just this guy just up on stage just yelling.
But this is supposed to be his pre-scripted fantasy.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're starting to see a bit of Tim's psyche here.
Or like the kind of reference to that with like Pink Floyd's The Wall, that one guy, the authoritarian guy yelling and putting everyone up against the wall. That scene.
Have you ever watched the Nostalgia Critics The Wall?
I've seen a lot of clips. I've seen someone break down it, but I haven't like. Come on, I'm not. I don't. I guess I haven't.
It's ew. You gotta watch it.
I have to just sit down and watch it straight.
I mean, it's terrible, but I'm bringing it up because that particular scene is just so god awful.
It looks horrifically bad.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do it. We got to record a podcast.
Yo, Doug Walker, if you're listening, you should come on the pod.
I'm sure he's a nice guy. I don't know, though. I've heard some bad things.
I've read a lot of things about how he pretends to be a nice guy, but he's actually kind of a huge asshole. So after this, we get them getting Mark to do other impressions that aren't W.C. Fields.
Which he's got to charge for,
Which he has to charge for. You can see Tim breaking when they ask when they ask him to do Jim Carrey, and he does Jim Carrey as W.C.
Fields. Hell yeah. Smoking.
Smoking.
I don't think that's what W.C. Fields sounds like, though.
I don't know. I've actually never looked it up. In this whole segment, there was another line I wrote down that I thought was pretty funny, was when Tim mispronounces Jared Leto as Jared Lego. And then he says, I'd like to see him in the Lego movie. And then he just can't stop laughing.
There's some giggles.
So, yeah, Greg is getting more and more frustrated with Tim, and Tim says something to the degree of, there's nothing better than Broken Promises, which is the name of a book I'm writing, Broken Promises.
Greg is getting frustrated with Tim.
Yeah, well, Tim is getting increasingly more drunk, and after a while, like, Greg is starting to look kind of nervous.
Well, so is that particularly, I mean, everyone on set, it seemed, basically, but particularly the Lady Hobbit, because she was, like, all smiley at the beginning, and then, like, when Tim starts yelling, she looked uncomfortable and sad to the point that it made me, like, every time they would cut to the whatever the hell, that offstage area, like the green room, quote unquote, it like, hurt my soul to see, because it's like, I know that it's all fake, but like her playing the character, it's like if you're like a woman and there's like a 200-pound man yelling and belligerent, it's like, well, you're in like danger if you don't get out of there.
Well, yeah, because the last Oscar special, Tim was fucked up, but he wasn't really being aggressive or anything. Like he's being aggressive, and I think this is the first time we've seen him this aggressive, like towards everybody. Because in the past, it's been in like really short bursts and mostly concentrated towards Greg, but he's doing it to everybody. Yep. So you don't know what's going to set him off.
Yeah, he's a powder keg, and the issue with that too is like thinking about those Hobbit people. I'm sorry. Thinking about those Hobbit people, like, I feel real bad for them because they're like kind of stuck there, and they're like, I can just, their internal monologue is like, well, if I get up and try to leave, then he's going to lash out at us. So we kind of have to just like sit through this and hope that he doesn't take out his anger on us, is sort of, and that's what really made me genuinely feel pain in my soul.
I'll get more into this at the end, but I feel like this one feels a little too real sometimes in terms of like everything just falling apart, because I feel like it kind of actually was while they were doing the production. I can't say for certain, but this was the first one they did with this kind of budget, so I feel like they were probably working stuff out. I don't know if you noticed, every time they would like throw up a flashcard to someone's name, it would be wrong, and I thought they were doing that on purpose, but then I realized it was kind of like off, there was like an off couple of seconds of delay, and it was always the person they had on camera before, and I don't think that was intentional.
I was wondering about that, especially, I don't know if we want to get into it yet, but the remembering previous Oscar recipients who had died, all the names were all jumbled up, and like
that one I think was intentional. Okay, that would have been pre-recorded.
Okay.
But yeah, so going on, we get another Decker clip. What'd you think of what'd you think of our second look at Decker?
I mean, I'm always down for Decker. Decker's my favorite part of the show so far. Still, I love Decker. I want to see the full movie. I mean, he's got 2 scenes done, so won't be long now.
I think this rendition of Decker is funny, but I think future Decker is funnier because it's more incompetent than what we see here. And it's a little less like, because like it is funny because Tim is like, yeah, I was torturing a 12-year-old. I had to shoot him right in the mouth, which I thought was really funny. But it's like, it's not quite that on the nose.
Yeah.
Going forward. Okay.
Yeah, that was quite over the top.
Which he's like bragging about torturing a 12-year-old.
It's like, I'm like, that's badass, man. His little twirl at the end, that was my favorite part.
My favorite part was when he said, I need your files on all your secret surgeon agents.
Secret surgeon agents. And that was the cut they used. Speaking of keeping great cuts in someone's production. I feel like the anyone involved in the production does not respect Greg whenever Greg's doing his own segment, and then on top of that, Greg doesn't give enough of a shit so that's the perfect storm of like why every time Greg does something, the production's like bad and messed up.
So then we got to stump the host, which is interesting. Tim was doing pretty well.
Yeah, Tim was doing pretty well. I mean, he was even beating the quiz itself.
Yeah, Lon Chaney Jr. wasn't Son of Dracula. He was not the original Dracula. But Greg was right about Pretty Woman. I looked that up. It only was nominated for 1 Oscar.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, so going to the Sally Kellerman segment, what did you think about this? Because I could not tell if she was in on the joke or anything. Because like Joe Estevez and John Aprea are very clearly understand what's going on.
Yeah.
I feel like Sally Kellerman didn't understand what was going on at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Regardless, she was a very good sport. She's taking it all in stride. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure if Joe Estevez and John Aprea knew about it until a few episodes, until they had appeared like a second time. So I don't know. Does Sally Kellerman show up next?
No, I don't even think they ever mention her again.
So she might not have very well have not been aware. To be honest, if I showed up, like me, myself, king of media literacy, if I showed up on that show, I don't know if I would be in on the joke either.
Yeah.
Like, even if they explained to me what was going on, if I show up to a production and it's actively falling apart, even though they tell me it's going to, if it falls apart to a certain degree and someone's yelling and pissed off,
This was a pre-Eric Andre world, too.
Yeah. Well, I think he had been around, but he was not popular.
Maybe this was the first season of the
probably
show.
First season.
Yeah, it is funny. I was watching an interview with him recently, and he said the reason they were able to get away with so much of like surprising people so much was that so many actors will go on podcast circuits and they'll get no briefing about what show they're going on.
What? Yeah. That just seems like such a terrible idea.
But apparently it's like commonplace. He basically said that it was like, yeah, we will basically give them no information about it and they'll still just come on. Because I guess that's the game nowadays. You just go on.
I mean, that's how Bill Maher probably lures all his victims these days.
Into what's the name of his?
Oh my God.
Club whatever.
Club Random.
God.
He used to have a television program. Now he's in a basement.
Is the Bill Maher show not on anymore?
I don't think it is, no.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who was watching that. I don't know who that show was for at this point.
Yeah. I mean,
who are Bill Maher fans at this point? Like, I know his fan base was mostly like annoying Gen Xers, but I feel like I
think that's it.
He's aggravating to every demographic of person. I don't know.
That's bizarre. I'm guessing it's the, whoever's still like kind of lingering on the hardest core. I mean, people say like, okay, boomer, or they'll call people boomers. And I think most of the time, at least at this point, that's in regards to people that are Gen X most of the time. Because I think boomers are really old now. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just like a Gen X boomer. And so I think the only people probably that are like actual fans are probably.
They're not on YouTube. Maybe, I don't know.
Look at Tim. He's watching Alex Jones.
I thought the segment with Sally Kellerman just went on way too long, and I felt like this might be mean to say, but I felt like they could have kind of messed with her a little bit more because like they weren't really like doing anything to trip her up or anything, and they were just having kind of a normal conversation.
I mean, there are a few jabs here, like when they were talking about her, and I forget who else it was, but that were nominated for the Oscar, and then the other lady won. They're like, oh, and then Tim saying that he's glad that she's dead now.
There was that bit where Tim was like confused about whether or not she went to the Oscars with her ex-husband or not. So Sally Kellerman leaves. There's some long, awkward segments. And then it cuts to he's eating the Chinese food. Really like the clip where he's eating it. And then he says, there's something off about this, and starts spitting it out. So Greg's Oscar premonition clip.
It's interesting that Greg predicted that he would be at the actual Oscars.
And he hugs Peter Jackson.
To hug Peter Jackson. Because, of course, him and Peter Jackson, they're such good friends and colleagues.
It also made me feel weird, but in a different way than Tim's Oscar fantasy.
It's interesting that they're both so out of touch with reality that they both created their own monuments to how out of touch with reality they really are.
Yeah. So after this, I mean, everything's just kind of falling apart. Tim is just straight up, his pants are down. He's pissing on the floor.
Yeah.
He's back at the control room with the touchscreen TV. He walks into the glass door and says, just cancel the show. And then it cuts back and Tim is just throwing Chinese food at Mark. Greg is hiding in the background from Tim.
Yeah.
Tim's getting increasingly more out of control. I did really enjoy Mark's actual WC routine at the end when he's like trying to do like
with the cane and,
it's not good, but it was funny. It was a nice reprieve from the chaos that's going on.
It was lighthearted entertainment.
So they've been building up into Oscar finale, which I will say this is going to be a great tradition of the Oscar specials, is that Greg always has a really terrible finale at the end.
Terrible?
Yeah.
Come on, he'd set up a whole dominoes of VHS tapes. Who else could do that?
Well, he needed a team of 20 people to do that, apparently. I've watched this one a couple of times. I actually rewatched this one last year, and I really don't get what Tim is doing right before Greg's finale, where he's going into that weird Southern accent, and he's going, thank God for gumbo, for being so delicious. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
It really seems like they're improvising a lot of stuff here, and some of it's kind of not landing super well, at least for me.
Yeah.
That kind of took me out of the reality of it, because I'm just like, why? Like, that's not in reference to anything.
No, it's not a reference to anything. This is very tenuous, but I assumed that he was trying to, I know this is very tenuous, make fun of Greg. Oh, this is how cartoonishly dumb I think you and your observations are. That's all I could really even, I'm really trying to give Tim the benefit of the doubt here. Tim, the real life comedian. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go into more thoughts about what I think is going on with that at the end. But yeah, so we get Greg's finale. He said he's been working on it for a long time. It took a team of 20 people to set it up, and he claims he used 500 tapes to set this domino thing up. There's maybe 50 tapes.
Yeah, I mean, there might have even been upwards of, not 100, but somewhere between 50 and 100, maybe.
Yeah. And anyway, it's just one of those domino things that spells Oscar incorrectly with an E. And I love that Tim says, if you spelt it correctly, all the tapes would have fallen down. Yeah, and the show just kind of fades out. And then there's a little video montage at the end, which I think is the first video montage we get from Vic Berger. But
oh, that's Vic Berger.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I felt really good when I saw the Hobbit people leaving, because it meant that they were going to be probably safe after that they were not in danger of physical injury from Tim. Yeah, and that's when I could, relax. But yeah, it does just kind of peter out.
I have some final concluding thoughts, but if there's any other notes you want to go over before that.
The hard cut to Sally Kellerman silently staring at the TV back to camera, and Charlie Chaplin, quote unquote, texting. Another fantastic shot, another frameable piece of art. And then during the Oscar recipients who had died remembrance slideshow, the fade from Steve Harvey with hair to him without hair, looking literally exactly the same, was pretty hilarious. Was that wasn't Vic Berger though, was it? Or was it?
No, I
maybe?
think that's the
Okay.
producers.
Okay.
Vic Berger does all, like, he'll do, I think this is the first one we saw, but he does these pre-recorded kind of mashup videos,
Okay, cool.
which is the one they showed at the end. Anyway, so my final thoughts on this, like I said at the top, I really do think this is probably one of the weakest pieces in the On Cinema catalog, and I don't want to shit on it too much because ultimately I think it's because this was the first time they were doing anything at this scale and they were figuring a lot of stuff out. But ultimately, like, I felt really, really unfocused. There was some really strong moments, but it really lost a lot of steam.
I was wondering what the point was. Like, because
Yeah.
there's always, because with the first Oscar special, there's a very clear point to it.
Yeah, they have like a narrative, I feel like, set up. And I was going to say, I like the first Oscar special a lot more, even though it's, you know, smaller scale. But ultimately, I mean, it was a smaller production, so it's easier to keep it more focused. And it also kind of feels like more of a piece of outsider art, which makes it a little bit more interesting. But yeah, like I said, this one starts really strong. I felt like they had things kind of pretty blocked out, but then after around the 50-minute mark, it really dips in energy. And I just think there's just way too many scenes that are meandering. And it's mostly Tim just kind of being drunk and ranting at people that go on way too long. Like, I think if they shaved like maybe half an hour, 40 minutes off of this, it would have worked a bit better. I will say tonally, something that's interesting about this. So all of the Oscar specials, they always kind of simulate this feeling of the production kind of falling apart.
Yes.
And it actually like feels like the production was like falling apart in this one a little bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of contributed to the sense of awkwardness to it, which, you know, it's interesting, but I don't think it really works. And yeah, going forward, even the weaker Oscar specials, because they have some really big highs with the Oscar specials. They're not all made equally, but I think all of them going forward are a lot better than this one. But they just have so much more momentum to them. And it feels like they know like where it's going and they've decided beforehand, you know, these are the points we're going to hit really strong. Where this one, it just doesn't feel that way. It even felt that way more so in the first one.
Than the first one, you mean?
No, I mean, I felt like they had a better idea.
Oh, like, absolutely.
Where it was going in the first one than this one, where this one seemed really off the cuff.
Yeah. You can blame production problems all you want, which obviously contributes, but like, I don't know, I just watched this film, Killer Bean. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Killer Bean?
Killer Bean. Killer Bean Forever. Okay, buddy. Speaking of...
Goliath loves that movie.
Yeah, Goliath.
I thought Killer Bean was a video game.
Oh, I mean, they just released the video game.
Oh, it's based on a movie?
It's based on a movie.
Interesting.
That movie is literally made by like one person, and it doesn't have, you know, I mean, there's no budget. The production value's non-existent, basically. But, you know, it's a well-written, tongue-in-cheek movie, and so it works. And it's like, if they would have really ironed out, you know, what the narrative was going to be for this Oscar special, despite all the production issues, it would have worked a lot better.
Yeah, and I think maybe in the first one, we're maybe assuming they blocked a lot of it out, but maybe they didn't. But it's easier to improvise just two people sitting in chairs and then edit that into something concise. Where when you have a full production with like multiple cameras and shots and things going on, that's going to be like, if you're just straight up improvising that entire thing, it's going to be way harder to edit that into something coherent.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it is. I didn't even think about it the first time, like, watching it. Yeah, they have, what, Tim, Greg, two hobbits, Mark, and then whoever's off screen. So that's, Joe, John, and Sally. So they have 9 people, bare minimum, on this production. So,
and they have like lighting rigs and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah.
So much more complicated. But that being said, pretty much every other Oscar special going forward, I think, is a lot stronger than this one. I think they just only go up in quality from here. And then they hit some really strong points, and it kind of goes up and down, but they stay really strong. But yeah, I think that's all I got for it. Do you have anything else to add?
You know, W.C. Field's gut was incredibly rectangular.
Yeah, it looks like he just has like a ream of paper underneath his shirt. Oh, another thing I wanted to bring up was Greg just keep bringing up Tim's drinking, and he says to Mark, he's like, so did W.C. Fields drinking contribute to his death? And Mark was like, oh, yeah, he definitely died from cirrhosis of the liver.
I like that Mark was being like he was like being like the fact checker for a lot of, like, they're asking him questions. Because you did impressions as this person, so you must know. I mean, there's a lot of little things that are very funny, but yeah, overall, not the strongest narratively.
Yeah.
I felt like it was like a retread of the first Oscar special, but just like with higher production values in a way.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Well, next week we're going to get into season 5. I'm excited about it. I think that's kind of when the show, I feel like I say this every
You
week,
say this every time.
It really starts like the next couple of seasons, like it's just going to keep building and building and building. But we're also going to talk about the first season of Decker.
Yes.
Alongside.
Sorry, listeners.
No, it's okay.
I love Decker.
I forget that you had watched Decker, but you had not watched On Cinema.
I hadn't watched Decker, but I had seen clips of it.
It's not going to be the Adult Swim version of Decker.
Okay.
If that's what you're expecting. It's going to be the...
I don't know what that means.
So, okay, just to explain, there's actually 3 seasons of Decker that exist specifically in the On Cinema universe.
Yeah.
And then Adult Swim commissioned like a separate Decker show, which they actually don't reference super too often on the on Cinema, but a bunch of On Cinema references bleed into the later Decker seasons.
Oh, okay.
Which is pretty fun. But yeah, so yeah, we're going to talk about season 5 and the first season of Decker.
Also, one of the Oscar recipients that died and was in that slideshow, his last name was Decker too.
I noticed that too, and I was like, oh, I'm surprised they didn't make a joke about that.
They didn't make a joke about it. They just had it there. They let it linger.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. We have an Instagram. It's the Other On Cinema podcast on Instagram. If you want to hop on there and tell us to keep it about the movies. But until next time, I'm bad at outros. Bye.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-bum.